প্রথমেই আমার প্রশ্ন জিম ম্যালোনের কাছে। Jim, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
The race looks very tight, at least according to the various recent opinion polls and surveys.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, you know, under our system, we vote state by state. So there is a national vote tally, which is important, but you get elected by accumulating what we call electoral votes in the various states. That's based basically on population. Each state has a certain number based on the size. And what we're seeing is that, say, about 40 of the 50 states heavily lean one way or the other, toward one candidate or the other. So we pretty much know which states are going to vote where on Election Day, except for about 9 states. And we call these states the swing or battleground states. These are the states where the outcome is unknown, where both campaigns are focusing their efforts, both in terms of money, in terms of getting out voters in advance of Election Day, and in spending money on television ads in the closing days. So we'll know more when we get the results on Election Day from these 9 sort of swing states that will determine whether the next president will be Barack Obama or Mitt Romney.
With your long experience in this field, how reliable are these surveys? So many opinion polls, so many surveys.
You're right. There's a lot, and sometimes they vary. What we have to do is look at trends. And the trends of late we've seen is since the first presidential debate in early October, in which Mitt Romney gave a very strong performance, his numbers have been going up, except for recently. In the last several days, that has slowed down. So we see sort of a flatlining effect there. And the president still slightly ahead in several of these so-called key states. In the national polls, though, Mr. Romney has, in many of these polls, moved into a very slight lead. But it's what we call within the margin of error. So there could be some errors here in terms of the polling. That's why we're calling it a very tight race. Basically, if you talk to the experts now here, they're going to tell you they just really don't know. We're going to have to wait to Election Day. But hey, that makes it fun.
Given the current situation, right after Hurricane Sandy hit the eastern coast, New York, New Jersey, some of the states are heavily damaged. And it affected definitely Obama's political campaign. This is like last-minute campaign, and also to some extent Romney's campaign. Do you think it can have an impact?
We're going to be looking at that. I think it's too early to know. Certainly the president's decision to suspend his campaign, to look presidential, in the words of his campaign advisors, by sort of supervising the disaster relief efforts, going up to New Jersey, seeing what happened up there. You know, it's going to make him appear to the public as president, and that could strengthen him. It could also have the effect, and even some Republican advisors are acknowledging this, of kind of freezing Mr. Romney's momentum in the polls. They were probably not happy to see all this happen. But in the closing days, we would expect both candidates to get back on the campaign trail, focus on those handful of states where the election will be won or lost. And at this point, both are trying to find some last-minute momentum that will carry them across the finish line. But looking at these polls, it's going to be close, not only nationally, but in these key states. And that's what's going to make it fascinating on election night.
According to some very recent surveys, this election is one of the most racially divisive elections in history. What do you think of that?
Well, you know, traditionally, going back into the 1960s, Democratic presidential candidates, and before Barack Obama they were all white, basically, did not do as well among white voters in the United States. It was a trend that Republicans were doing better among white voters, and that Democrats would build up huge majorities among African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and even to a lesser extent Asian Americans, which is, by the way, the largest growing population of American voters, at least in terms of percentage. So what we're looking at in 2012, the Obama campaign is counting on an even better turnout, especially among Hispanic American voters, to kind of bolster the president and make up for what appears to be a bit of a deficit now with white voters, even more so than 4 years ago. John McCain won the white vote 4 years ago, and this year Mitt Romney's trending a little bit better. So that means the pressure's on the Obama campaign to do better with African Americans. They had a huge turnout last time, young people, Hispanic Americans, and probably more than anything else, women voters really carried Mr. Obama to victory 4 years ago, and they're looking to them again this year.